Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children. In last session, we have discussed about how to write data into the file. Today, in this session, we are going to discuss how to read data from the text file and how we are going to remove white spaces when we are reading the text from the file. Here, while reading your text files, we have three methods. The first method is read method. It reads the entire file and returns the contents in the form of a string. It reads at most in bytes. If no n is specified, else it reads the entire file, which means that if while reading the file, if it reads the entire file, if n number of bytes have been specified, those n number of bytes will be read and it returns the characters. The default file open method is read mode. Always it reads in a read mode method. Here we have two syntaxes, right? File object dot read or file object dot read of size. That is the number of bytes either we can specify or we can leave. The second method of reading your file is read line. The read line will return a line read as a string in the form from the file. For read line, a line is terminated by a new line character. That new line character will also be read from the file and it is postfixed in the string. File, the syntax is file handle or the file object dot read the line of n, right? Even while reading the line, you can specify how many number of bytes you want to read. Reads the line of input. If n is specified, it reads at most n bytes. Read bytes in the form of a string ending with a line character or a blank string if no more bytes are left after reading. So, if I don't have further any bytes to be read, a blank string will be written. If you don't want to leave any new line characters inserted by print statement, in print statement you can use n equal to in double quotes. An argument can be attached to leave. That is, if you don't want any new line characters to be attached, you can use n of. So the syntax is the file object dot read line of n. N is optional. The third method of reading the file is read lines method. File handle dot read line. Read line reads all lines and returns them in the form of a list. Read number of lines from the file if the size is mentioned or all the contents if the size is not mentioned. So the syntax is file object dot read lines of. Now we will execute the program based on three different methods. First, read method. So read method, which is nothing but it reads the contents from your file. The entire contents will be read from the file. So here we have used the file object as f and we have opened the file name text.txt in read mode. So the data will be read from the file and we are storing it in a variable called as data and we are printing the data. Let us execute this one. Yes, now you can able to see all the contents from your files have been read and we have stored in a variable called as data and the data gets printed. If I want to read only a specific number of bytes from the file means I have to specify the number of bytes in a read method. Here you can see that only 10 bytes or the 10 characters of your file have been read. Otherwise, the entire contents from your file will be read. Now we'll discuss the second method of read line method. Read line, which is nothing but read every single line. Here, the same text file we have opened, and F is associated with the text1.txt. So F dot read line, that is, it reads the first line and the line gets printed, and we have stored in a variable called as line1. And here in a print statement we have attached end equal to in double quotes. If you don't want to have a new line characters as the end of your line, you can attach this as a second parameter. And in second line 2, we are reading only the 15 characters or the 15 bytes we are reading. If it is not specified, the entire line will be read, and the content, that is, if the number of bytes have been specified, only those number of bytes will be read from that particular line. Let us execute this. Right? So here you can see that hello user, that is the first line of your file, and in second line only 15 characters have been read, the rest of the characters will be left. So every time this read line function reads a single line, if you have specified the number of bytes, those number of bytes will be read by the line. Now, in previous example, we have seen every time that we are reading a file, we have to, that is, every time that we are going to read a line, we have to use read line function every time. If I want to read entire contents from my file, in the sense, I can use for loop or while loop to read the entire contents from the file. So we'll execute the program how to read the entire content from the file. Here we have opened the file text.txt, and str is a variable to repeat the loop to read the contents and store it to the variable well of str, right? So if it is true, if the contents are being read from the file, if it is true, we are going to repeat the process by reading all the lines from your file. So here F is being associated with a test.txt. So the first line of your file will be read, and the str stores the first line and it gets printed. Again, the process will be repeated because your str is true till it reads all the lines from your file. So the second line will be read and second line gets printed. Let us execute this. Yeah, you can able to notice that here the first line has been printed. So the loop starts repeating by reading the second line and third line and fourth line till it reads entire content from your file. All the lines will be read and gets displayed. Now the same function, that is, we have worked with while loop. Let us work with for loop. Yeah, in for loop, str for str in F, that is F, which is nothing but your file object. As your file object is being associated with test.txt, so the loop repeats and the lines from your text.txt started printing. So this is the output of the program. So the for loop gets repeated as many number of times till it reads all the lines from your file. Now these are the three methods we have seen, and we have one more method called that is read lines method. In read lines method, the same way, FSI file object, it is being associated with text.txt. Now, we are going to read, that is in read lines, we are going to read the entire contents. The contents will be stored in the form of your list, right? So here I have read the entire contents using the file, that is read lines method I have read, and directly I am printing the values. So the values will be printed in the form of a list. Let us see. So hello user /n, that is while reading the contents from your file, the /n, that is new line characters, will also be read by the file, and it stores in the form of your list. The same way for the second line, you are working with /n, python /n, file /n. So the entire values, the values that you have stored in the file will be stored in the form of a list. Suppose if I want to access a particular file or a particular list or a particular line, in the sense, as we know that we always refer the values in a list in the form of an index. So index value should be given to refer the particular line or a particular element in your list. Right? So here you can see that Python starts printing, that is here, let me show you. Let me remove this. Right? Sorry. Yeah. Right? So here you know that the lines have been printed in the form of your list. So when it is taking list in this, then the second element, that is your list value, starts from 0, 1 and 2. So the third element in your list started printing. So that's why we are getting as Python. The third element is your Python. Now we'll discuss how to remove the white spaces after reading from the file. Read and read line reads data from the file and returns it in the form of a string. Read lines returns data in the form of a list. All these read-write functions also read leading and trailing white spaces and new line characters. If we want to remove these characters, we have to use these functions. The first one is strip. Removes the given character from the both the ends. So a parameter should be attached. So whatever the character that you want to remove from both the ends should be passed as a parameter. Else strip removes the given character from the left end, which means that if the given character is from left side, it removes, or if the given character has been not been given, the spaces gets removed. In R strip, removes the given character from the right end. The same way, if the character is being given, the character gets removed. If not, the spaces gets removed. Now we'll see this program. Now, before executing this program, let me show the text file. Here I have given the text file as ipl.txt. Let me show that file first. So, let us see our text file, ipl.txt. Right? So here, first line is Mumbai Indians. Next we have /n, and in the second line I have given some spaces. Then Chennai Super Kings I have given. Now we'll work with the functions. So here I have opened the file ipl.txt in reading mode. So line 1 equal to f.readLine, which means that I'm reading the first line. So when I'm taking the length of the line, it includes the new line character and it counts the number of characters and gives us a length. Now here I'm using the R strip, that is it removes the right end, right? So here as I have specified the /n as a parameter, as an argument to it, it removes that /n. The length of the line will be calculated and it gives us a result. And in this statement, we are reading the second line. So length of n2 gives the length of the second line. Here the same second line we have used as a else strip, that is left end of your line, the spaces, as we have not mentioned any character, that is the character has not been mentioned here, it removes the spaces, the left end removes the spaces. After removing the spaces, we are calculating the length of the line 2. Right? So see the output, length of line 1 is 15 and the same length of line 1 is 14 because we have removed a new line character, so the length is reduced by 1. Here length of line 2 is 25. This is, which means that here the spaces is being added, the total length of line 2 has been given, and here we have used R strip, so it removes the right end of your spaces and it counts the number of bytes as 20. Thank you, children.